Symptoms of esophageal diseases. The most important symptom which we need to know is dysphagia. What is dysphagia?
Difficulty swallowing.
Difficulty in swallowing. Which types of dysphagia do you know? It could be organic and functional. And we need to know how to differentiate, is it organic or functional one. Organic dysphagia is caused by burns of esophagus, tumors, strictures of esophagus, or compression of esophagus from the outside, mediastinal organ compression. Functional one is problems with innervation of site disorders. So, organic dysphagia appears because of burns or tumors. With time they can grow, and dysphagia will progress with the time. Functional one do not progress. Organic dysphagia present always, it is constant condition. Functional one can appear and disappear, it's inconstant. In organic problem, patient cannot eat solid food, first of all. Next, with progression, patient cannot eat semi-solid food. Next, drink liquids. In functional dysphagia, patient cannot drink liquids, patient feel difficulties in drinking, but patient can eat food without any problem. So these symptoms we need to know. So when we ask patient about symptoms of dysphagia, we need to ask these questions to differentiate what is kind of dysphagia in our patient. Another symptoms of esophageal disorders are heartburn, regurgitation, hiccup, acid taste in the mouth, and some another symptoms. I hope you will read it in future. Next, level of stomach. Abnormal digestion in stomach level is named stomach dyspepsia. What are symptoms of stomach dyspepsia? What?
Stomach
pain.
Pain is not dyspepsia. Remember this. If there is pain, it's not digestive problem. It's something else. Nausea. Vomiting. Most of you had gastritis. So what have you felt? Burning sensation in the epigastric region or behind of the sternum. Like in esophageal disease, regurgitation, hiccup, acid taste in the mouth, heaviness, fullness in the stomach, bloating in the stomach, erucation when patient has release gas from stomach. These symptoms are symptoms of abnormal digestion in stomach or duodenum. Next, symptoms of intestinal dyspepsia. If patient has abnormal digestion in intestines. What are these symptoms? Diarrhea, constipation, and one more is the most typical. Meteorism. Increased amount of gas in intestine. So, if patient feels symptoms which are related with stomach dyspepsia, patient has disease of stomach, duodenum, maybe esophagus. If symptoms are related with intestinal dyspepsia, disease in intestines or colon. It's need us to do differential diagnostic. If patient feel nausea and vomiting, it's not intestinal disease, it is stomach disease. And if there is diarrhea, it's not stomach problem, it is intestinal one. So this is important for differential diagnostic. So very standard question. Tell me symptoms of stomach dyspepsia, and you need to list these symptoms. Tell me symptoms of intestinal one, you need to name this, at least these three symptoms. Also, patient can feel heaviness in the abdomen, patient can feel bloating, patient can hear bubbling sound or some another symptoms. But three main symptoms of intestinal dyspepsia. So, next, pain. Pain is different syndrome. Pain is not sign of dyspepsia. Pain is sign of infection, inflammation, spasm, or some another conditions. It can be combined with dyspepsia or it can be separate. That's why it is another syndrome. Pain can be caused by esophageal diseases, stomach diseases, duodenum diseases, intestines, small intestines, and colon. So characteristics will be different. If we speak about abdominal pain, we need to speak about location, connection with food intake, connection with nose vomiting, connection with defecation. These symptoms we need to ask. Also, we need to ask radiation and some other symptoms, but these are the most important. So, if patient feel pain due to stomach disease, what is location? Epigastric region. Okay. Relationships with food intake. Is it appear or disappear after food intake? Appear after food intake. How much time after food intake? "30 minutes or immediately after food intake." So practically after food intake. Not more than 1 hour, 1.5 hour after food intake. Relationships with vomiting. How do you think? Will it worse or better after vomiting or will not change? Patient feel better after vomiting. So vomiting relieve pain. Relationships with defecation. Worse or better or not change? With defecation. Not change. So in this way we need to answer for everyone question. Esophageal pain. What is location? Behind of the sternum. Relationships with food intake. Increase after food intake immediately during swallow. Vomiting.
Increase.
Is vomiting increase? Pain.
Yes.
Feeling pain.
Mostly pain is related with dysphagia. So patient has pain because of dysphagia. So if patient will have vomiting, patient will relieve symptoms of dysphagia.
Nothing is answered.
Because we did not say transfer.
Say every single answer?
No, they failed. We tried.
Gram positive இப்படி next plus gram negative இப்படி next
Should I repeat them now?
No, you just
Negative.
shoot everywhere. Starting from the
Yeah.
first page.
I'm having night
So,
without sleep.
I don't know why. Later it
Yeah,
was not.
like
Yeah.
This button was not.
They did it
This
just now,
one.
like, because they didn't do it.
So vomiting relief pain because of esophagus will not full. That's why it will relieve. Defecation,
No.
not change. Pain due to duodenal diseases. Location. Which part of abdomen? Epigastric region. Sometimes in right hypochondrium. Okay. Relationships with food intake.
Increase.
Increase after food intake. How much time?
30, not immediate.
More than 1 hour. From 1 to 2 hours after food intake or empty stomach. Relationships with vomiting.
No change.
Not change or can relieve a little. Not like in stomach problems, but can change, can help a little. Defecation. Not change. Not change. Small intestine. Location. All of us had diarrhea. When you had diarrhea, what is pain location?
Abdomen.
Patient will show you like this. There is no exact location. Whole abdomen is painful, but the most important location will be around of umbilicus, para-umbilical region. But there is no exact location. In stomach, we can show exact location. In small intestines, patient will show you everywhere. Relationships with food intake. Is it related or not?
Really?
It could be related. How much time?
More than 1 hour.
More than 2
Couple of
hours.
hours, yeah. Until it finished the pathway from.
Yeah, more than few hours. Vomiting.
No change.
Vomiting do not relieve it because of intestine's content will
Is there a
not.
connection with the bone?
There is no
Does it have
connection.
with the bone?
Yeah.
I will take the material from the intestine coming back to the.
It will not come back. Yeah. That's why
Has
there is no
no-
relationship with vomiting. What about defecation? After diarrhea, pain disappears. So
Release.
relieves pain relieves after defecation. Colon disorders. What is location?
Also, abdomen, especially around.
It will be around of abdomen, depending on localization. If a patient has cecum disease, it will be in the right iliac region. If it is in ascending colon, it is what region?
Left.
Right?
Hypochondriac.
No. No. No.
இப்போ இவங்களுக்கு லொக்கேஷனே தெரியாது போல.
You need to know regions of abdomen
அது
perfectly.
புரிஞ்சுது.
Who will not know regions of abdomen will not pass future control. So, regions of abdomen. How to find these regions? Which lines do we need?
Middle.
No, some names there.
சரி அவரே சொல்லிடுவார் பாருங்க. அவரே சொல்லுவார் பாருங்க.
So, how to find regions of abdomen? Two horizontal lines. What are they?
Median line.
What is level of first horizontal line? The highest one. nobody passed current questioning because of it would be in the questioning. Level of the tense ribs, inferior edge of tense ribs. Inferior horizontal line. What is level?
Iliac spine.
The crest.
Iliac spine.
Iliac spine.
The crest.
Which one spine?
Anterior superior.
Anterior superior. Because of some students answer iliac bone. Iliac bone is incorrect. Spine iliac, anterior superior. So higher level is epigastrium, middle level is mesogastrium, the lowest level is hypogastrium. Next we need two vertical lines. How to find them?
Mid-clavicule.
No. 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 What?
I have no.
Sternal line is wrong. External edge of rectal abdominal muscles. So, hypochondriums, right and left, epigastric region. This region is umbilical or para-umbilical region. This two? No.
Inguinal.
No.
Lumbar.
No.
Iliac.
Lumbar region is back region. If you will read tasks, and it will be written pain in the lumbar region, you will think about kidneys. So it's incorrect. If you will Google it, Google this patient, it will be written lumbar region. It's incorrect.
Hypogastric.
Most of students Google it, that's why I know that it's written lumbar. Which one? Hypochondrium is this one.
Hypogastric.
No.
Hyperchondria.
No. 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 Nobody read books.
No, that is the mid part.
Yeah.
Hypogastric region. Which region he asked? Middle to upper.
Yeah.
Hypogastric, no?
Hypo is cool, no?
That is
சரி அவரே சொல்லட்டும்.
subcostal.
சப்கோஸ்டில் தான் இருக்குன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். இது பார்ப்பேன். I don't know.
Subcostal.
These regions are named
Subcostal.
flanks. Right and left flank.
Flank.
Or surgeons can write lateral region. Lateral region is not fully correct for our subject, but if you will tell lateral one, it will not big mistake. If you will tell lumbar region, it will be very bad mistake. So flank, right and left flank. These two regions are
Inguinal.
inguinal or iliac regions. This region incorrect.
Bro, we can.
Google again. Google don't know this answer. This one is suprapubic regions, and you've studied it on anatomy lessons.
Long time ago.
Not too much time ago, but when you will be a doctor, so you can forget anatomy. I don't think so. So, cecum, ascending colon, transversal colon. Transversal colon can have a pain in epigastric region or a little bit below the epigastric region. Descending colon is left flank, and sigmoid colon is on the left iliac region. So in these areas we can feel pain. if these areas are affected. Relationships with food intake, is it related or not? With food intake, we speak about pain.
Colon, yeah.
Yeah. Is it related or not?
No.
There is no exact connection with food intake. It could be provoked by food intake, but it appears few hours after food intake. That's why patient cannot find exact relationships. But sometimes patient can tell us, I drank coffee and 2-3 hours later I had diarrhea and pain. Relationships with vomiting,
No change.
no changes after vomiting. And relationships with defecation,
Relief.
relieved after defecation. So this question is standard question on the control and exam 2. Yeah.
Can you repeat all the regions, please?
Hypogastric. Hypochondrium, I'm sorry. Epigastric. Level is epigastrium, 3 regions. This region is epigastric. Flanks. Umbilical. Inguinal or iliac. Suprapubic. Next question which we need to discuss is bleeding. One more symptom of gastrointestinal system diseases is bleeding. Bleeding can be in the level of duodenum and stomach and higher. Bleeding could be in lower level, and signs of bleeding will be different. There are common signs for any bleeding: tachycardia, pale color of skin, loss of blood pressure. It will be in any one person, loss of hemoglobin and red blood cells. But there are specific symptoms. If bleeding is from the esophagus, it can provoke vomiting, and vomiting mass will contain fresh blood. Sometimes bleeding, blood will go to stomach, and we can see signs of stomach bleeding, if it is esophageal bleeding too. If bleeding is stomach, bleeding is in stomach, we will see coffee ground color of vomiting masses. It is very, very dark brown color. Hemoglobin reacts with acid of stomach, and it produces hematine. Hematine is black. That's why we will see black, practically black or dark brown color of vomiting mass. So vomiting with dark color is stomach bleeding or sometimes esophageal one. But in esophagus, in most part of cases, we will see fresh blood too, together with dark color. Duodenal bleeding is same like stomach bleeding, dark vomiting mass. If it is upper bleeding higher than stomach or level of duodenum, hemoglobin will react with vomiting, with blood, with acid of stomach, and it will lead to appearance of melena. What is melena? It's not a girl's name. It's black feces. If you know somebody with name Milena, you can tell her. Black feces, because of hematine. Hematine will be in vomiting mass, and we will see dark color of vomiting mass, and it will be in the feces too. That's why dark stool will appear if it is esophageal, stomach, or duodenal bleeding. If bleeding is in intestines, small or large intestines, we will see feces mixed with blood. and blood will be red, fresh blood. If bleeding is from the rectum, we will see blood over feces. So feces will be clean, but blood will on the surface of feces. So in this way we can do differential diagnostic. What is source of bleeding? And next way you can prescribe different additional methods of examination. So these questions are theoretical questions which we need to know. One more question. Survey of abdomen. Local survey of abdomen. Also percussion of the abdomen and palpation. Not palpation, auscultation of the abdomen for today. Local survey of the abdomen have to be performed both in standing and lying position, vertical and horizontal positions. In the vertical position, we need to assess shape of abdomen, how abdomen is involved in the breathing, symmetry of the abdomen, presence of scares, rashes, presence of abdominal mass. Next, patient have to lie down and we need to assess all same things and their changes. How shape of abdomen change, how abdominal mass change, they appear or disappear in the standing or lying position. In this way, we can differentiate three conditions which are related with enlargement of the abdomen. So if abdomen is enlarged, we need to do differential diagnostic of obesity, overweight, and ascites. What is ascites?
Edema of abdomen. Edema of abdomen.
Edema of abdominal cavity, so fluids inside of abdomen. So these three conditions we need to differentiate. Also, we can differentiate it using percussion of abdomen too. So first, survey. In obesity, we can see enlarged abdomen. In the standing position, there are folds under the abdomen, and abdomen move down. There is no umbilical hernia. In most part of cases, there is no caput medusa. There are stretch marks. In meteorism, abdomen is enlarged. It looks like a mountain abdomen. Whole abdomen is enlarged. There are no stretch marks. There are no umbilical hernia and caput medusa symptom. In ascites, ascites mostly caused by liver disorders. It's caused by portal hypertension. We can see piriform-like abdomen. Inferior part of abdomen enlarged more than upper parts. We can see umbilical hernia. We can see caput medusa symptom. Next, patient lie down. In the horizontal position, in obesity, central part of abdomen fall down. Abdominal shape could be changed a little. In meteorism, abdomen do not change shape. It looks like a mountain, big enlarged abdomen. In ascites, fluid moves to the lateral sides, and lateral sides enlarge more than central sides, and we can see frog-like abdomen. Do you know how frog abdomen look like? It's enlarged in the lateral sides. Yeah. Next, we need to do percussion of abdomen to confirm our examinations. It has to be performed in three positions. First position is vertical, second one is horizontal, and third one is side position. When we do percussion vertically, we need to do it according to three lines. First line goes through the hypochondrium, flank, and iliac region on the right side. Next, central line, epigastric umbilical suprapubic region, and one more time in the left side. Hypochondrial, gland, and iliac region. Horizontally, we need to do percussion from the umbilicus into 4 directions. From umbilicus upward, downward, to the left and right side. Next, patients have to lie on the one side, on the right side, for example. And in level of umbilicus, we have to do percussion from the upper parts to the lower parts. If there is normal abdomen or obesity, in all positions, sounds will change character. Sometimes it will be dull sound, sometimes it will be dull tympanic sound, so everywhere sound will be different. If it is meteorism, everywhere, in every position, patient will have tympanic sound everywhere. If patient has fluid, we will detect line with dull sound, horizontal line. When patient will lie down, fluid will move to the lateral side, and we will find dullness in the lateral side. And in the side position, we will find level with dull sound too. So in this way, we need to do percussion. And we use it for differential diagnostic of obesity, overweight, and ascites too. And one more practical skill for today is auscultation of the abdomen. It has to be performed both in vertical and horizontal position. In vertical position, we auscultate epigastric region and give to patient cup of water. Patient swallow water, and we have to hear 2 noises. First noise immediately after swallowing, second noise in 6 to 8 seconds after swallow. If second noise appears faster, patient's cardiac sphincter not work properly. There is incompetence of cardiac sphincter. If second sound appears slower, patient has dysphagia. Also, we can auscultate areas in hypochondriums. Normally, we don't hear anything in these areas. If we hear noise, it could be perihepatitis in right side or perisplenitis in the left side. Inflammation of cellular cells, tissue around of liver or spleen. In the horizontal position, we auscultate 3 points. First point is second point. Spina iliac anterior superior to end umbilicus, we need to make line. Divide this line over 3. Between lateral and median parts, we need to put stethoscope. It is second point. Second point, 2 centimeters to the left and up from umbilicus. Point of small intestines, or Porges points. Porges point. And third one, symmetrically like a first point, spina iliac anterior superior, umbilicus over 3 between left and medial parts. It is sigmoid column. In these 3 points, if stomach is empty, after starvation, we have to hear normally from 4 to 6 peristaltic movies per minute. If peristalsis will be faster, patient has inflammation of one of parts of this intestine. If peristalsis will will not appear or will be slower, patient has paresis or paralysis of intestines. It could be sign of severe inflammation in the abdomen, peritonitis. Here's diagnostic meaning for practicals for today. Now let's do break. After break, we will go to patient's room.